The reason why we're out of line and getting smacked day in and day out, let me show you something. Because we are in different ideologies and different doctrines. Right now, there's an ideology that spawned up. Mother's Day. And you got people who are robbing and stealing to go out and give a gift to their mother. That's against the commandments. Let alone the Lord never told you to do Mother's Day. We're going to prove that. Let's go to it. Luke chapter 11, verse 27. Check this out. Check this out. This is just one instance that if we return back to the Most High, we can have peace and harmony. The Bible tells you, man, that we're supposed to honor thy father and mother. Not no one day. Right, right. Well, we're going to prove something to you. Let's see what the Lord said. Read.
Luke chapter 11, verse 27. And it came to pass, as he spake these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice and said unto him, Blessed is the womb that beareth thee.
Blessed is the womb that beareth thee. Read on.
And the paps which thou hast sucked.
So ultimately what she's saying is, let's honor your mother. That's what she ultimately saying. Blessed is the womb you came out of, and it gave you, and the paps, the breast that basically nurtured you. Let's see what Christ says. Read.
But he said, Ye rather, blessed are they that heareth the word of God and keep it.
Blessed are they that hear the word of God and keep it. So, and since what he did is say, nah, you don't worry about where a man came out of, the woman. Don't exalt her. But rather, bless the day that hear the word of God, man, and keep it. Think about that. Because you putting up your mother on a day, basically you making your mother an idol. Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 12. You can't make a person an idol, because the Lord will actually bring curses upon them. That's why you see a lot of people in disarray. A lot of people get judged. Tomorrow, a lot of people are going to get judged, man. You're supposed to honor your father and mother, period. Let's read it.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that the days may be long upon the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So honor thy father and mother, that your days may be long upon the land, right? So he didn't say honor thy father and mother in May. Honor thy mother in May. Honor thy father in June. When did the Lord say that, man? He said, honor thy father and mother, that thy days may be long upon the land, right? All right, man. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 1. Let's go. We were already hitting this. You got to realize something. The Lord loves judgment, man. Come out of the falsehoods and the ideologies of the so-called white man. Or else, you're going to fall into the ultimate judgment, and he'll lead you right to your grave, man. Let's go, Ephesians 6 and 1.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right.
Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Read on.
Verse 2. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise.
Honor thy father and mother, because it's the first commandment with promise. What was the promise? You will have a lengthy life. You understand? But you got a lot of people out here who don't honor father and mother, and for that reason, judgment go out. Your mother tell you, your father tell you, yo, you be home before the street lights hit. You stay out late, boom, got shot in the neck. You done. Read that again.
Verse 2. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth.
That thou mayest live long on the earth. But what's ultimately happening is judgment. Because you see all these little kids out here getting put to death, dying, and everything else. It's ultimately because the Most High is instituting judgment on them, man. Let's go to Matthew chapter 15. Let's see what Christ said about these little kids who are very disobedient. All right? You talking about you honoring your mother, but you still selling crack, man. Hey, you still stashing, you using your mama house as a stash spot. Come on, man. Yeah, yeah, everything you got is in your mama name. Yeah, well, you understand? You stole your mama's credit. Yeah, it happens, sis. We speaking the truth. We're speaking the truth of the Holy Scriptures. The Bible is the thing that cleans a man back up. Stop robbing and stealing, but then on one day, you rob and steal all year long from your mama. But then on one day, you talk about, I'm an honor. You bring her a dirty, rusty old bear. You go to Hallmark. You stole money to get that. Come on, man. We're speaking the truth out here. Understand? The truth is the scriptures, man. Let's see what Christ says. Matthew chapter 15 and verse 2. Read that.
Matthew chapter 15 verse 2. Why do thy disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread.
Because they were trying to say Christ's disciples was transgressing the traditions of the elders, man. Read on.
Verse 3. But he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition?
Why you transgress the commandments of God by your tradition? What tradition? Right now we speaking of Mother's Day. You transgress it because God never told you to pick one day out and make it Mother's Day. Understand that. You transgression by your breaking God's commandments by the traditions of men. That's what he's saying. Listen to what Christ said. Read on.
Verse 4. For God commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother, and he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death.
Oh, wait a minute. Read that again for him.
Matthew chapter 15 verse 4. For God commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother.
God commanded, saying, honor thy father and mother. We read that back up in Exodus 20 and 12. That's a commandment. Honor thy father and mother. Right? Read on.
And he that curseth father or mother, let him die the death.
He that curseth father or mother, let him die the death. Let him die the death. So sis, you got all these rebellious brothers running around here, okay? They mother tell them, their father tell them, yo, hey, don't run with that type of person right there. I see danger. They don't listen. So ultimately what happens is, here we go, news at 12, you know, he's a chalk line now because the Most High removed the hedge and allowed judgment to go out. Now everybody's marching in the community with his picture on there talking about rest in peace, when in all actuality he's resting in pieces. Understand that. Now let's go to Deuteronomy 21. Deuteronomy 21. Let's find out. Let's find out what's going to happen here. Deuteronomy 21. Start at verse 18. Let's start at verse 18. Listen what the Bible says, because Christ said, he that is rebellious against his father or mother, let him die to death. That's what Christ was ultimately saying. Well, he's showing you the law. Listen to how righteous our law is. Watch this.
Deuteronomy chapter 21 verse 18. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son.
If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, just like a lot of you so-called blacks and Hispanics out here today, stubborn and rebellious. And what you're doing is causing ultimate judgment upon yourself, man. You're getting killed left and right out here. Understand that. If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, read.
Which will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother.
Which will not obey the voice of his father or his mother. This man is out here like a savage. He's a brute beast. He's on the corner. He's selling drugs. The cops knocking down my door. My TV went missing last week. All kind of stuff happening from him. He doing this, right? Read on.
And that when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them. Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him and bring him out into the elders of his city.
So then he won't listen to him. So they say now the father and the mother, what we're going to do is we're going to drag your behind out of here and we're going to take you to the elders of the city. We're going to take you to the righteous brothers in the city and something's going to happen. Let's see. Read on.
And into the gates of his place.
Meaning the gates of his place, meaning the leaders. Read on.
Verse 20. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, there is our son is stubborn and rebellious, and he will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard.
So what they're saying is they drag him out, they bring him to the gates, the elders. They say, look at our son right here. We done warned him 1,000 times, but he's a glutton, meaning all he do is come at home, eat everything up. Sound familiar? You go up to the top of your refrigerator, cereal gone. You go in there, look in your refrigerator, where you get a couple eggs gone. Your son did it. All he does is eat, stay at home all day, don't do nothing. Play PlayStation, have his friends over there, and he's selling drugs, all kind of stuff happening. And all they do is sit there and drink, smoking weed, drinking, and everything. They bring this man to the elders and say, this man is a glutton, meaning all he do is eat, and all he do is get drunk. Let's see what's going to happen in our righteous laws. Read!
Verse 21. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shall thou put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear.
You see what would happen? You see what happened in our majestic laws? He gonna bring him to the gates of the elders, and they're gonna stone his behind. They're gonna put him to death, that all Israel may hear and fear. You know what somebody else gonna say? You know what? Remember what happened to their son? They brung him out there, and them elders stoned him. Now you look at our nation today. You know our brothers have big arms, so they can throw rocks real hard. So he's gonna die. He's gonna get hit. Somebody was hitting him hard. Believe that. You understand? They took his behind out there and stoned him. So the next time a person got stubborn and rebellious, they would think about it. Oh, you know what? I remember how that rock hit him. I ain't trying to get that. You understand? But the honorable and the people that's supposed to be showing the right ways have to return back first themselves, because you have the parents that's savages. You got people, you can see it all day on social media. You got the son sitting down with his mama, they smoking weed together. That's the truth.
That's right.
You understand? You got the father, he out there, he watched his daughter leave in and out with short dresses on and everything to send her out there as a whore.
That's right.
You got to think about that. This is what's happening in the world today, which is bringing forth judgment, man. Well, I'm going to show you something. Go to Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3. Let's go to Apocrypha. Let's show you how the order of things is supposed to be established. We'll show you something. Ecclesiasticus chapter 3. Start at verse 1.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 3. Hear me, your father, O children, and do after, that ye may be safe. For the Lord have given the father honor over the children.
So the Lord had given the father honor over the children. The father has honor over the children. Read on.
And have confirmed the authority over the mother, over the son.
And what the father does is when he leaves, he confirms the authority. He gives his authority over. He say, okay, I'm leaving. Now the mother, you watch out for the sons. You watch out for the kids. You understand? That's how the order of things is. The father has the honor over all, and then if he leaves, the mother steps up. Read it from the top again.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 3 verse 1. Hear me, your father, O children, and do thereafter, that ye may be safe. For the Lord have given the father honor over the children.
See, he said that ye may be safe. How you going to be safe is because you safe from getting your behind stoned to death. If you honor your father and mother. Read on.
And have confirmed the authority over the mother over the sons.
So the father confirmeth the authority of the mother over the sons when he's absent. Read on.
Whoso honor his father, make him atonement for his sins.
Whoso honor his father, making an atonement for his sins, man. He can get cleaned up because he looks at his father who's keeping laws, statutes, and commandments, and he keeps them because he's honoring them. You understand? Now let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 30. This is the take heed, says this is the order in which things is established when you fall up underneath ultimate righteousness, not trying to follow man. Oh, the May 8th, Mother's Day. Let me get my mom a gift, get her some chocolates. You buying your mama chocolates and she got diabetes, man. You only killing her even more. Think about that. Oh, let me honor my father, June, Father's Day time. Not knowing all this stuff was instituted by the so-called white man. You're supposed to honor your father anyway. And if you fathers out here, if you got rebellious kids, you're supposed to put the rod to their behind. Let's read. Ecclesiasticus chapter 30, start at verse 1.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 30, verse 1. He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod.
If your daddy, you can remember back in the day, if he really loved you, what he would do is whip your behind. Often. You get out of line, you catch a whipping, man. But you done got brainwashed by the so-called white man to call a whipping child abuse. Yeah, but yet he wants you to honor your father. Give me a break, man. Read.
That he may have joy of him in the end. He that chasteneth his son shall have joy of him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance.
He'll rejoice, sis, if he's honoring his parents, they can rejoice in their children. Understand that. But if not, you're going to walk around here grieved. That child going to grieve you. Understand that, mother.
Verse 3. He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy.
He that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy. Because why? If Israel teach their son this, they teach their sons the commandments. The world hates the commandments. But if you teach your son the commandments, mother, guess what? The man that teaches his kids the law, statutes, and commandments, he's gonna grieve the enemy, because this son is gonna be raised up in the midst of the enemies to do something. Watch this, mother.
And before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father died.
Though his father died, he raised his son up. Now, though his father died, read.
Yet he is as though he were not dead.
Yet it is as though he was not dead, because when they look upon him, they say, boy, you just like your daddy. Honorable, ancient, wise, because he raised you up that way. Though his father died, you can look upon the son and say, I can see him in you, man. Remember they mocked that in the cartoon Lion King. They mocked that. Remember Mufasa died and Simba went off, but he was training his son up. And then when he died, Simba ran off, but when he returned, as soon as he splashed on the scene, they thought it was his daddy. They said Mufasa, but it was really Simba. Because they know ultimately in Hollywood, when you teach your kid the right way, he's going to grow up honorable just like you. Understand that? Read on.
For he have left one behind him that is like himself.
He left one behind him that is like himself. He's left one behind him, right? Read on.
Verse 5. While he lived, his son rejoiced in him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful.
And when the father laid down to close his eyes, he was not sorrowful. Because he raised that child up to be a man. That's how he raised him. He raised him up. Be a man. Be honorable. Respect your elders. Respect women. Don't beat on women. You understand? Don't hit women. Honor them. All right? Follow laws, statutes, and commandments. All right? That's the gist of the matter. I'm telling you. 1 Kings chapter 2. One last scripture for you, sis. I know, mother, you're going somewhere. But listen to what the Bible states on how to really be a man. This is what the Bible states on how to be a man. Remember, we just went over how the father teaches son. This is David passing the torch to Solomon. A father passing it to a son. Let's go.
1 Kings chapter 2 verse 1. Now the days of David drew nigh, that he should die. And he charged Solomon his son, saying, I go the way of all the earth. Be thou strong therefore, and show thyself a man.
So David told Solomon, I go the way of all the earth, man. I'm about to die. So now he's charging him. He say, show thyself a man. Well, how you do that, Daddy? Read.
And keep the charge of the Lord thy God.
And what?
and keep the charge of the Lord thy God.
Keep the charge of the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God, the charge is the Lord is only for the Israelites, the so-called blacks and Hispanics whose fathers are of Negroid and Indian descent. They are the biblical Israelites today, and that's why you see them walking around here getting killed and everything, because they left the power of their God. You know, changed their glory to another glory. They following another doctrine, another God. We supposed to be following the God of Israel. That's our power. Keep the charge of the Lord thy God. Read.
To walk in all his ways.
To do what?
To walk in all his ways.
To walk in all his ways. All his ways. Not all the nation ways. All of God's ways. Read.
To keep his statutes and his commandments.
To keep his statutes and his... What's wrong with thou shalt not kill? Nothing. What's wrong with don't have no other gods before me? Nothing. What's wrong with don't commit adultery? Nothing. What's wrong with don't be a homosexual? Nothing. But people don't want to do it. That's why you have chaos and things in disarray today. Keep the charge of the Lord thy God. Keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Read.
And his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest.
See, that thou mayest prosper in all that thou doest. If you want to really be prosperous, you got to keep commandments. Not sit in the church on Sunday and say, clap 3 times, go up on when they play the music, put $10 in, and wonder how you're going to get gas for next week. That's the truth. Understand that? But all the ancient and mighty men of the Bible follow God with a whole heart. Give me our first Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 49. Yeah, listen to this. Watch this. All the ancient and mighty men of the Bible instructed their houses, all right, in righteousness, meaning how God told them to do it, not by the ways of the world. That's why Christ came and shined the light. Start at verse 49.
First Maccabees chapter 2 verse 49. When the time drew near that Matthias should die, he said unto his sons, now have pride and rebuke God in strength, and the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation.
So this is Matthias, honorable, one of the honorable men of Israel. He's about to die, and now he's talking to his sons. Pride and corruption is on the earth. Indignation meaning righteous anger. Let's see what he tell his sons. Read.
Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law.
Be what?
Be ye zealous for the law.
Now, my sons, be ye zealous for the law. Our laws, not this man's system. Be ye zealous of the law. Read.
And give your lives for the covenant of your fathers.
Give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. That's honorable. He's teaching his sons. Read.
Call to remembrance what acts of your fathers did in their time.
Call to remembrance the mighty acts what our forefathers did. Remember Moses. Remember Joshua. Remember Caleb. Remember Aaron. Remember Isaiah. You got to remember David. Call to remembrance these things. Remember the days of old. Read.
So shall ye receive great honor and everlasting name.
Great honor and an everlasting name for being honored. Your name is all you have, like it says in Proverbs 22. Believe that. All a man has is his name. It's more desirable than riches and gold. Read.
Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation?
Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation? Read on.
And it was imputed unto him for righteousness.
And it was imputed unto him for righteousness. Read on.
Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandments and was made Lord of Egypt.
Joseph, in the time of his distress, he was in ancient Egypt getting in underneath the hard bondage, but the Most High had him to keep the commandments, and guess what? He was raised up in that captivity, right? Read on.
Phoenix our father in being zealous and fervent obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood.
Phineas being fervent, being so zealous for the law, when he stuck that javelin through him to stay the plague of Israel, retained the law of a priesthood and train that covenant. Read on.
Verse 55. Jesus, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel.
In Joshua. All right, read on.
Caleb for bearing witness before the congregation, receiving the heritage of the land. David for being merciful possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom.
David, from being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. For being merciful, he could have killed Saul 10 times over. But for being merciful, he possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. It's about returning back to righteousness, not our own ideologies. Read.
Elias for being zealous and fervent for the law was taken up into heaven.
Right, he was taken up Elijah was taken up into heaven on a chariot in a whirlwind. Read on.
Ananias, Azarias, and Misael,
Meshach, Rashach, and Abednego. You know the story. Read.
by believing, was saved out of the flame.
By believing, just by believing on the Most High and the Son. You understand? They were delivered out of the fiery flame of the furnace. That's the way you're going, the only way you're going to escape thermonuclear destruction when the Lord returns. You better have a certain belief system in you. Meaning you better return back as an Israelite, keeping laws in Christ. Read.